Here are two identical TaoTao, I guess they're 90cc bikes. They're both, we think, 3 years old now. We bought them, we only paid $425 a piece for them, brand new from a dealer in Atlanta, knowing that when we bought them that they were cheap, more or less temporary four-wheelers. Having said that, I have to say that these have been fantastic. The kids have I've used them for years, driven them pretty hard. They're still going strong. We bought another one. But I would say that if you're going to buy one, you need to have a little bit of mechanical ability or know somebody that does, because everything's cheap on them. So I've had to replace the starter on this one. This one hasn't been ridden anywhere near as much, so it hasn't needed as much. What happened was, several weeks ago, we had taken a couple of the kids up to River Ranch and were riding. They stopped right beside each other, and both of them turned their bikes off, and when they went to restart them, neither one of them would start. This one, we finally figured out that it was the starter switch, the red part here, that the tabs had broken off of it, and something must have fallen out. We're not sure what, but anyway, it wouldn't work anymore. So I said, well, that's easy enough. I got on Amazon and I ordered two new starter switches, assuming that it was both the same. However, the new starter switch came with female adapters on it, and the old one has male. And once again, we said, well, we'll just cut these off and put some butt splices in them and make them work. Well, no, the new one only has 5 wires and 2 wires. The old one has 6 wires and 3 wires. So what we did is we traced the wires, and we found that it was the blue and the brown wire that went to the starter button. So we cut them and pulled them out. I'm going to reinstall the old switches there. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to get a push button on-off switch and mount here in the side, because I could keep sending this back to Amazon, no fault of Amazon, but I could keep sending this back and getting the same wrong ones back over and over again. So we're going to stop with that. We also found, and this is a continuing problem with these, the cheap batteries. So we have to constantly trickle charge the batteries or use a bump box to get them started. So you have to take the battery, if you've got one, I'm just going to tell you, you're going to have to take the battery in and out constantly. And it had at one time a little tab that you pulled it out with. That broke off early on in the game. Now the wires are too short, so I'm getting ready to take some more wire, and I'm going to make a butt splice there and extend this wire out 3 or 4 more inches, because it bends the lug there, and the wire constantly breaks off and pulls out. So I'm going to fix that. I'm also going to take a big tie wrap and wrap around this whole battery and leave about 6 inches sticking up so that we can pull it in and out, and that should solve that problem. Alright, I got the battery part fixed. I spliced in about a 6-inch piece of, I don't know what it is, number 8, number 10 wire here. Actually, a little tiny bit bigger than the original battery cable, but anyway, I spliced that in and put this big heavy zip tie on here, which will make this real easy to get out without putting any pressure on the connectors again. And taped up this one where it was pulling out a little bit. I've got it. It will start now by grounding the 2 wires together. So now I have to do the tedious job of getting this off again, threaded back down from here, back down to the connectors down there, and then we'll just have to drill a hole in the side here and put a starter switch on. I've got the switch back on with the kill switch and the now it's just got the headlights. I have verified that when I ground these 2 wires together that it does want to start. The battery, as usual, is flat, but other than that, good repair. It only took me about 30 or 40 minutes, and if I had any idea what I was really doing, it wouldn't have taken that long. But Anyway, now I've discovered that Bailey's doesn't actually have the same problem. The starter switch on hers is fine, so I'm thinking hers may be nothing more than just a dead battery. So I'm going to put the jump box on there and see if it'll start. One more thing I'd like to add. If you own one of these and you're like most men and didn't read the instructions, there is a choke on this thing. I've taken this little panel off the side here, but if you look right down in here, there's a choke lever. You can reach your hand up from underneath and find it, but using that choke lever on cold mornings or when it just doesn't want to start, push that up, crank it up, let it run for a second, and then push it off and you'll be good to go. It turns out the pink one does have the same ignition switch problem. It's just more intermittent than the green one. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing to this one I did to the green one, which is pull the wiring down and strip the blue and the brown wires out and get them changed. Just to show you how it's done, just to take the switch off, there's a screw there and a screw there, and then it just comes in half. There's one zip tie here that will undo it. The connections are in here and you can get to them, but it's one of those things you can only get one hand in there. So anyway, it's a little struggle to get them apart, but I'll get them apart because I do want to confirm the blue and the brown before I start cutting anything. All right, let me show you if I can how I got these connections out. You can see them moving up under there, so you have to stick your hand in the middle of the front bumper, get up in there. There are actually 4 connections. Ow! There, I cut myself again. It's really tight. They have a clip, and what I had to do was take one hand in and pull the clip back and put this screwdriver and turn sideways to get the thing apart. Once you've got it once, it's fairly easy, but since I'm filming with one hand, I can't show you that. Here's the switch taken apart. There's the starter button right there, and by rooting down through there a little bit, I can see down on the bottom the blue and brown. So I just wanted to confirm, since even though these were bought at the same time, doesn't mean they were made at the same time or place. I just wanted to confirm that was right before I started hacking. So now I'll cut those wires and fish this back down to where it's supposed to be and get it reinstalled.